All right, welcome back to another one of our film reviews. Today we are breaking down new Chargers offensive lineman Bradley Bozeman. I think the Chargers got a steal in picking up Bozeman. We've got a great set of cut-ups to highlight exactly what Bozeman's strengths are and what he'll bring to this Chargers offense. As always, if you appreciate this content, give us a like, give us any comments with any feedback you might have. But without further ado, let's jump right into the film. All right, this first set of cut-ups is going to focus on downhill running and old school power football. There is Bozeman, of course, right there at the center position for the Carolina Panthers. We're going to get a double team between Bozeman and his left guard on this defensive tackle. We call him a two-eye technique. He's on the inside eye of the guard right there, working up to that linebacker. Left tackle is just base blocking there. We're getting in a double team on the right side of the offensive line up to that linebacker, tight end working out there, and receivers are just working inside however they can to pick up safeties. This is old school fundamental power football. Let's focus exactly on what Bozeman brings here, looking at his physical demeanor and his ability to handle the situation. Let's watch how he does. Or you can see him working in the double team. Look at that movement and that come off. Let me go back to the very beginning, right there. That's perfect, folks. Look at the depth, the penetration, the movement Bozeman and his left guard get. They walk back that defensive tackle, 2-3 yards into the linebacker's lap, and Bozeman's right there to get on the linebacker. Now, unfortunately, the Panthers don't pick up the safety, and their other guard just completely falls flat on his face. So this play loses about 3 yards. But, folks, this is a great job by Bozeman, keeping his shoulder square, working up to the next level. Great rep here for the new Charger center. Let's take a look at it from the wide view now. There's Bozeman right there. Get movement. Look at that penetration. Look at that dislocation of the defense right there. Right there, walking back. Look where Bozeman and his left guard is compared to the rest of the offensive line, the tight ends, right? There's about a 2.5 yard difference there. That is setting a new line of scrimmage. This is a great rep from Bradley Bozeman, and he'll bring this kind of performance in Greg Roman's Chargers offense that is very physical as well. Next play, one-on-one blocking, driving him back once again. Look at that physical work up there up front. Doesn't need double team help this time. Just gets on that defensive lineman, walks him back 3-4 yards. Phenomenal work from Bozeman. Again, let's take a look at it from the sideline view. Gets on him, bases him up, and then just walks him back. Look at this, folks. This is awesome. Squares him up, makes sure he gets his hands on them, and then just drives his feet into the dirt and walks him back 4 yards. How far is that? 4.5 yards? Awesome work here. Again, look where Bozeman is compared to the rest of the offensive line. Now, they got a pancake block here. That's a great rep right there. I'll let you guys check this out right here. Funk. That's an awesome work from that offensive lineman. But I tell you what, you look at the rest of the guys up front from the Panthers, they're not at the same level of Bozeman, right? And this is what he will bring to the Chargers. Physical toughness, running his feet, getting to the point of attack. Great work here.
Yeah, Nick Bozeman is great at that downhill, ultra, rough and ready run blocking, like you said. That's what he was best at with the Baltimore Ravens, and none other than Greg Roman's scheme. His best year was in 2021 when he switched from guard to center for the Ravens as well. So I think this is a match made in heaven for offense as far as scheme fit, as far as positional fit for Bozeman, and then as far as who he's blocking for, none other than former Ravens running back Gus Edwards. But I think what he's able to do at the center position, downhill blocking, this was one of his best attributes. He graded a 73.6 in that 2021 season when he switched over to center for the Baltimore Ravens and Roman scheme.
All right, we just went through some cut-ups showing Bozeman, and there he is at the center position, of course, with some downhill double team blocks. This is going to be more of a zone scheme set of cut-ups here. This is an offense, of course, an offensive scheme, zone blocking that every NFL team runs. We're going to get everyone up front on the offensive line working to the right. We're going to get essentially a double team right here, working up to whatever linebacker or safety fills in this area. We're going to get backside cutoffs here on the backside, just like this. And the whole point in this scheme, zone blocking, is to get dislocation, right? You want these two guys to get movement in that direction. You want this defensive lineman out of the way here. You want to get on a linebacker, force him on this side. So that way running back works this way. The backside cuts it off and you get just a natural hole and he cuts back behind for a huge play. Let's focus on Bozeman here. He did really well in base blocks in terms of downhill double teams as well. Let's check out how he does in zone blocks. All right, you get motion. There's a snap. You can see everyone's zone scheming to the right there. Again, Panthers are not very good up front in some positions. Look at the left guard. That's not very good. So it kind of blows the whole play up. Let's focus on Bozeman right here, working with his right guard on his zone scheme. You see everyone working to the right. Look at this double team. Look at this dislocation, this movement. They're working up to that safety right there. They drive him back, put him completely in the dirt. That is awesome. Phenomenal work. He gets on him, gets on his hip, and just drives him into the ground. And here's the beautiful thing, right? They're working up to the safety right here. But what they don't do is they don't come off too early, right? You wait for this guy to come to you. He never needs to come to him because at this point, the safety is kind of just avoiding the pile out of the way. Now, unfortunately, again, his buddies aren't helping him out. The tight end kind of runs in some trash, so it ends up being a limited gain. But this is a phenomenal job from Bozeman. Let's take a look at it from the sideline view right here. You get the motion man. Look at Bozeman. Look at that immediate location right there, or dislocation, I should say. Right? It looks kind of static, and then Bozeman comes in and just throws that guy 4 yards and puts him on the dirt. Phenomenal rep from the center. All right, let's take a look at this next one. Again, we're going to need a zone block scheme up front here. Working his right. He gets on him, gets movement. Now there's good blocking. Huge hole. This is exactly what you want from a zone blocking scheme. You get cutoff blocks on the backside. You get the guard working up to the linebacker. You get the tackle cutting off that defensive tackle there. You have this double team working on these two, working up to that linebacker, and it's all on Bozeman. Look at that movement. Look how much he dislocates the defense. And I want you guys to focus on where the running back runs behind Bozeman, right? So right here, look where 30 ends up, right? Right off Bozeman's butt right there. It's because of that movement, that dislocation. By forcing the defense so wide by driving 74 for Atlanta that far off the football, it allows the running back to stretch it wide and then cut it back into a hole. That's how it's supposed to look like in terms of zone blocking. Again, let's take a look at it from the sideline view. Look at the movement Bozeman gets the moment he gets on 74. Just completely walks him away 4, 5, 6 yards, opens up a cavern here. I mean, look at this hole right here. Whoosh. Awesome work up front, and it starts with Bradley Bozeman. This guy will be a huge addition to this Chargers offensive line.
Yeah, Nick. And in these zone schemes, you see Bozeman on the move, and that is when he was at his best, especially when he played in Baltimore. As you said, not a whole lot of help in Carolina, but we can see in some of these plays, he's doing a great job. When you get him moving, he's an incredibly good asset for your team. Greg Roman knows how to use Bowman because under his tutelage, Bowman was named one of the best pulling guards in all of football at the time. I think at center, you can still expect to see him on the move a couple of times, but when he gets rolling, this is a guy that is very hard to stop.
All right, we got one more zone blocking scheme to show you guys. And again, this is just unbelievable stuff because this is more red zone situation here. So you can see right here, the Atlanta Falcons, they're walking up linebackers. They got people close to the line of scrimmage. So you know in this situation, when you're running a zone blocking scheme to the right tackle's working out that way. This right guard, number 66, he has his eyes on 53. He's going to work this way to check 94, but he's going to be thinking, I got to come off quickly. Bozeman in this situation, this is what I love about him. He's physically nasty, but he's also a great athlete. Watch how quickly he gets on the defensive tackle right there. Again, he's a 2-eye. He's a wide-eye technique right there in terms of a 1 technique, which would be closer on the center. He's a 2-eye. That's a wide angle for the center. Watch how Bozeman gets over there, even though he knows his guard's going to be looking to leave early and deliver a powerful punch in the zone blocking game. All right, there's a snap. Look at that. Again, look how fast he moves. It's deceptively quick, but he immediately delivers such a strong punch. Look at that dislocation. Here's the crazy part about what Bozeman brings to the table. He hits and drives that defensive tackle so much. I want you guys to see this. This is what I love about this play. Look at this guy's right leg, the defensive tackle. See how it goes like flailing up in the air? I mean, he sends this guy flying, literally keeps him just trying to keep everything he can, just not fall flat on his face. And Bozeman gets so much movement, he actually drives the defensive tackle in between number 66 and the linebacker. Look at this. So the 66 can't come off for the Carolina Panthers. This is an incredible job. Unfortunately, it's Carolina, so the rest of their offensive line is total garbage. Tight end gets destroyed. You know, running back has no chance. That's just a tough situation for anybody, unfortunately. But Bozeman doing this with the Chargers, with that offensive line, with Herbert, with Roman, with Harbaugh, I tell you what, Chargers fans, this is going to be a powerful offense in 2024. All right, for the third set of cut-ups here, we're going to show Bozeman. Of course, there he is at the center position, working up to the second level, talking about getting on linebackers and getting on bodies in space against better athletes and giving his running back and the rest of his offense a chance. This is another zone blocking scheme. Bozeman, though, in this situation, actually has a chance to work up to the next level. Everyone's working this direction. We're getting kind of a zone double team like this. 68's working to take over that defensive lineman. Bozeman's working this way, but 74 for Atlanta flashes across this way. So Bozeman works up to the next level. That's that linebacker right there. The rest of the offensive line is just doing backside cutoffs. Running back's going to take a wide track like that. It's kind of a wide zone blocking scheme, an outside zone scheme. Let's focus on Bozeman and see how he handles going up to this linebacker. All right, works up. You can see that defensive tackle flashes away. Bozeman immediately works up. Smart move, recognized and reacting. That's like what we like to see. Gets on him, squares him up, doesn't hold. Phenomenal work. Again, it's the Carolina Panthers. The left guard doesn't do anything. The left tackle, for some reason, grabs the safety and throws him into the running back. This should have been a huge play. I mean, you freeze frame it right here. Look, if this is the Chargers offensive line, if this is Slater, for example, you have Bozeman on the linebacker. This is probably a touchdown, folks. And that's what you're going to see a lot in the Chargers offense, because Bozeman getting up to the second level, doing a great job right there. Again, no holding either. Smart, savvy play. Let's take a look from this angle. Gets up, gets on, extends, gets some movement, lets him go. Smart rep right there. Good fundamental football. That's what this is. That's what you get from Bozeman. Gives his team a chance, even though the rest of the Panthers offensive line really struggles right here. All right, let's look at another situation here of Bozeman working up to the next level. This is a bizarre, funky scheme the Carolina Panthers run here. It's basically like a gap running scheme. It almost looks like a draw, but it doesn't feel that way. Every offensive lineman just takes the gap to their left, and the player that goes in that gap, everyone just kind of shuffles that way and picks up whoever comes in that direction. So you can see right here, Bozeman has nobody in this gap, so he naturally works up to the linebacker. Everyone else just takes the gap to their left. Running back just tries to go wherever he can here. There's not a whole lot there to work with. But again, let's focus on Bozeman. Once again, getting up to the next level. Let's check out how he does. All right, everyone takes a little patter to their left and works up. Again, very strange blocking scheme. Carolina Panthers were a strange team. But again, Bozeman gets on the linebacker, completely demolishes and negates him, completely eliminated. Again, Bozeman versus the rest of the Panthers offensive line. Bozeman blocking his guy, doing a great job. Everybody else is kind of just watching or around the pile, right? He's watching, he's falling down, right? Bozeman is the only guy actively still doing a great job. This is what he brings. He doesn't get the respect he deserves because he played on a bad team, but he's still a quality player.
Yeah, Nick, you speak about respect and, just kind of being undervalued while being on the Carolina Panthers. I want to highlight a couple of things that if you just look at his time at the Carolina Panthers, Bradley Bozeman will be discounted in. That's pass blocking. Panthers, 48.9 grade, 53.3 grade, the 2 years he was there. But that is not indicative of who he is. In this Greg Roman scheme, he was a very good pass blocker his last year in 2021, 73.8 grade there. Then, as well as keeping the quarterback clean, this is a guy who in 4 years in Baltimore only let up 9 sacks. Then you look at the Carolina Panthers, 10 sacks in 2 years there. I just think being on this Panthers offensive line, you don't get a great picture of who really any offensive lineman is at their true identity. But Bozeman is a lot better than the numbers that you can see from the Carolina Panthers.
All right, these next set of cut-ups here are looking at pass protection involving Bozeman. We're just talking about pass protection, of course. We're going to show exactly what he brings to the table there. There's still a lot to like, even though it's not as good as his run blocking. Here, the Carolina Panthers are facing a 5-man defensive line. So it's basically just going to be one-on-one across the board right here. Center one-on-one with a nose tackle. We'll call him a head-up nose tackle. That would be a zero technique. That's a terrible zero right there. And everyone else is, again, one-on-one right there. And these guards, if, for example, that guy drops out and he goes outside, these guards will potentially help Bozeman. But Bozeman has to expect this to be one-on-one. He has to handle it as if he's one-on-one. Let's check out how he does. All right, there's a snap again. You can see the guards working out to the defensive tackles. You can see the tackles working out to the outside linebackers. You can see right there that this outside linebacker drops away. So the rest of the right side of the offensive line has a chance to work down. So these three now have these two, right? So Bozeman gets a little bit of help, but just focusing on Bozeman right there from the get-go. Great technique in terms of squaring his shoulders, keeping a solid base. Right? Keeps working, keeps dropping his hips. Again, in these situations, it's all about getting run over as slowly as humanly possible. If it takes a defensive lineman 10 seconds to run over you, you've won, right? But here's what I really love about this. Look how long he stays on this block, right? 3 seconds, 4 seconds, 5 seconds, 6 seconds. And the ball's out, big completion down the field, right? This is what I love from Bozeman. Take a look at it from the wide angle right here. One-on-one. Look how long he hangs on this block. Just fighting and staying with it, right? This is championship level effort, right? He doesn't give credit because he was on a terrible team, but that's great stuff there from Bozeman. All right, next pass protection, we're going to get one-on-one tackles on the defensive ends, left guards one-on-one on this wide 3 technique right there. These two center, Bozeman right there, of course, and the right guard will have these two guys is how it looks like it's structured. Bozeman's going to provide some help here and then look to pick up this linebacker who's obviously walked up. But in reality, it almost becomes sort of like a gap scheme because Bozeman in this situation is basically looking for anybody coming in this direction. And it could be this linebacker, of course. It could be this defensive tackle. Could be that defensive tackle. It could be a defensive end. Who knows? This play shows Bozeman's veteran savvy, his ability to recognize and react. Let's check it out. All right, quick post hand. He looks for the linebacker. Linebacker's gone. Watch his head immediately snap to the other defensive tackle. Dunk, picks him up, and then stays on him. This is great stuff, right? Again, provides help to his buddy right there, checks the linebacker, picks up the guy coming into his gap. This is good stuff. Again, great pass protection rep here from Bozeman. Unfortunately, it doesn't work out because Bryce Young can't find anybody open. Ends up being a limited gain, but good job by the center. Again, quality rep from Bozeman. Look at it from the wide copy. Recognizes, reacts, picks up the defensive tackle, keeps fighting, keeps his guy near the line of scrimmage. Everyone else is struggling. Bozeman's doing a great job. All right, next up, we've got a screen. Bozeman fakes pass protection, works downfield, eyes his guy. He's on the linebacker right there. Gets his hands on him. That's really all you need. Forces him to work underneath. Nobody else is blocking. Of course, it results in a limited gain play. Not great for Carolina, but Bozeman's doing a solid job. That's the theme of the cut-ups. The rest of the offensive line is doing really poorly, but Bozeman, veteran savvy player, giving his team a chance, right? Again, screen, getting downfield, cutting off the linebacker right there, getting his hands on them, not holding, no dumb penalties. Right there is really all you need because if somebody blocks somebody, this has a chance to be for a big play if you don't have two other offensive linemen standing around, three really, not touching another soul while the defense is celebrating. This has a chance to be a big play, but instead it's not. But Bozeman did his job at least. And the final pass protection here, again, one-on-one defensive tackle completely negates him at the line of scrimmage. I love this rep because look how fast Bozeman works to cover him up because C72 worked to the left and then try and counter move to the right. Bozeman works to his right to cover up and then immediately reacts to the counter move, keeps his feet square the entire time. Bryce Young has no pressure from Bozeman's guy. It's an abomination of a throw. I have no idea what's going on here. Carolina Panthers offense was just terrible to watch, folks, in terms of film. But in terms of Bradley Bozeman, he's a heck of a player, and this rep continues to show he's a complete player. Pass protection is not his strongest part, but he can get it done when he needs to.
And Nick, one last thing I want Chargers fans to take away from a guy like Bradley Bozeman, something you got to look deep into. Coming into his 7th year in the league, Bradley Bozeman has only ever missed 4 games, banged up ankle in 2022, comes back pretty quickly after 4 games. Outside of that, he has started every single game of his career. He is the picture of health, and he's a guy that you can count on game in, game out. He really is an Iron Man of a player.